Hello and welcome to this short tutorial for Myriad Anywhere News. In this tutorial we're going to run through the basics of using Myriad Anywhere News. It's not designed to be an exhaustive list of all features. We just want to get you started so that you know what you're doing with the basics and then let you explore from there. So let's jump straight in with Myriad Anywhere News. Go to your Myriad Anywhere portal and log in. On the Launchpad, click on News. This opens the Myriad Anywhere News portal. Just like with other Anywhere products, we basically have on the left-hand side, we have our sort of navigation. This allows you to view the stories that are on your system, or you can also view the media that's on your system. And then the main area is used to display the working area. So if I open up a story, for example, you can see that the content for the story is displayed there. So let's run through a few of the features you'll see in this system. First off, on the story list on the left-hand side, this is where all content that is added to your system is displayed. Now, this could be content that is captured from wire feeds. You can see here we've got some content coming in from IRN, which is a UK news service provider, but also some stuff from some Twitter accounts or Twitter feeds that we're following. There may be other wire feeds that you have in here. You'll also have any content that's been added by yourself or any of your colleagues would also be displayed in this general stories feed. You can see new stories that haven't been opened yet are in bold, and stories that have been opened appear normal like that. And you can also see this one here is in red. Now that means that this has a word that has been added to the system as a catchword, which means that story, any story that contains that word, will be highlighted, and so you can see from the stories list any stories that have any words that you're interested in. You'll also see some of the stories have a number to the right hand side. Now this is the audio or media item that is attached to that story. So some of these, like this IRN story, has an audio piece already attached. Some of them do not have audio attached, and you can of course add your own audio to any of these stories. So if you wanted to navigate in here, obviously currently we're looking at pretty much everything. We're limiting the range to the last 12 hours, but you can choose the time frame that you're interested in, and you can view either you can do a search of either the entire story or just the title body and author. And if you just type in the search into the search box here, so if I was looking for Boris, it's okay, you can see here are the stories that have the word Boris in them. Let's open up one of these stories and take a look. Now the story I've just opened here has a audio piece that has been captured automatically, and therefore is in the automatic capture zone. This is a small section of your media wall that is used for capturing audio content from wire feed services, and that particular section of the media wall will actually loop around on itself. So when it runs out of media items, it will delete the oldest ones and carry on. Because I've opened a story that is in there, it's offering to copy the audio into my personal range, which the next ID in my personal range is 4118. If I say yes, then what that does is it changes. You can see that the audio that's changed there is now in 4118. That also means it's outside of the automatic capture audio range, which means that audio is now safe and won't be overwritten when the captured loops back around in that range. So any stories you're working with, when you double click on them, it will move the audio into your personal areas, which will protect the audio. I mean, it won't disappear tomorrow or the next day, or however long it takes for the audio captured into the auto capture range to loop around. Okay, looking at the story, we have the title for the story, and we also have the media ID for the story. You can listen to the media as well by clicking on the play button. If the media hasn't been downloaded, it will download it. Okay, And you can also see the outward. So if this is supplied by a wire feed service, then they may supply the outward, or you can type in your own outward. So if you've added your own audio to a story, then you can do so. You can also see the author is displayed here, and we can also set the category and priority for this story. So if I drop down the category, I could choose different categories. So I'm going to change this one to be my local stories 1 category. And I can also choose whether it's normal, important, or flash. This is just normal story. Let's leave it as normal. And you can also have a field for approved by if you run the system where your stories have to be approved by a senior editor or similar. A new feature for Myriad News 5 is the used feature here, and you can tick these options to show which bulletins you intend to use this audio in. So the idea is that if this story was only relevant for the next 4 hours, you can tick the hours that this story is going to be used in. Now this doesn't stop you using it in other hours, but what it does mean is that when a different journalist picks up this story later, they'll be able to see which hours this story has been used in previously. So if you don't wish to use the same story all the way through the day, you can see that this story has been used previously. Now with the main script, obviously this script has come from a wire feed, but we can add our own content into here. So you can just type in extra content if you need to. And you can also add additional content. So if you wanted to add an image, you could do so. Obviously, the image isn't particularly useful for a on-air bulletin, but because Myriad News has the ability to post stories to selected website CMSs, you may wish to add a picture so that you can publish this story to your website. As we've already seen, this story already has a piece of audio attached, but let's say we wanted to add a second piece of audio. We can go onto the audio tab, and if we go to our media section, we can just drag in anything that's on the media wall in there. So I'm just going to drag a jingle in for now, but the same thing would apply if you were adding any content into that. So there you can see I've now got 2 pieces of audio. What I might want to do is in the script here, I may want to place an audio tag into here. Put one there, and then I'll put one here as well. And then what will happen is when we display this story, it will actually put the first piece of audio here in the story and the second piece of audio here in the story. There's an internet tab which allows you to create an alternate copy of the text for the story. Again, this is useful if you're planning on posting this story to your web CMS. You can copy in the content and then it will just copy in as is. But of course, for your web version of this story, you probably want to edit it in order to have it suitable for on-air or for publishing on your website. You can add notes to your story if you wish to, and you can also attach other files to your story if you need to. When you're happy, click on the Save button and save your story. Next, let's try creating a new story. Click on the New Story button, give your story a title, give your story some script, as you can see, if you spell something wrong, it will underline it to allow you to fix it. Now, in this case, I don't have a piece of audio ready, so what I'm going to do instead is upload a new piece of audio. So I'm going to click on Import New Media, browse to the piece of audio I want to add to this story, and click on OK. And as you can see, that gets uploaded to the system. Okay, now that I have a story, some script and some audio attached, I can fill out the rest of the details if I wish for my story. So I may want to add an image, I may want to add audio, additional audio or internet versions of the story. You can also add the outward and any other essential information you need to. When you're happy, click on the Save button. The story is now saved, and as you can see, it's been added to the story list. Let's say we didn't have a piece of audio ready to upload, but instead wanted to record a new piece of audio into our system. To do that, click on the click to record button here. You can see a preview of your voice, so you can see the views are going up and down. To start recording, click on the record button. Hello, this is me interviewing someone for my story. When you're done, click on the eject button. It'll ask you if you want to save to the next media ID. You say yes. Once the story has been uploaded, it will be available from the Media tab. Okay, but maybe we need to edit this in some way as well. Now, you cannot edit the audio inside Myriad News. If you wanted to edit the audio, you would have to do that on a third-party editor application on your local computer or PC or Mac. However, you can do all the other metadata that you may want to do. So you can see here I've just opened the edit button. I can load the preview and it will load the preview. I can set my intro, extras and hooks on here. I can change the titling and the artist information. I can choose a media type in here, and I can also set the category if I want to. So you can see you have different categories of news, and you can also set the any of the other information such as restrictions, copyright information, or any of the fields on the other tab. Now this will look very familiar to anyone who's used Myriad 5 or any of the other Anywhere products, because this is the edit media item window that is used throughout Myriad Anywhere. When you're happy, click on save and the item will be updated. So far we've mentioned categories twice, once when we created a story and again when we were looking at an audio piece, but we haven't discussed how those categories are actually visible within the system. So let's go back to our new news items tab, and here you can see the story list that we were looking at the beginning of this video. But we can also see there's a button along the side here called saying all story categories, and this is just showing us currently it's not showing any type of categorization or any category filtering. If we click on this button, however, it pops out a list which allows us to choose which categories are displayed. So if I want to just see local stories, I can click on there and it will select just the local stories. Now this isn't limited to just stories. If we go down, we can also see our bulletins are listed in here and also our media items in here. So if I click on the news one media item, you can see that any of the audio I've recorded is or uploaded is in that particular item. So you can use the category list here to fine tune the content that you see in this here, whether it's stories, bulletins or audio pieces. Now that we know a bit more about stories and audio, let's create a bulletin. Click on the new bulletin button. This will open a blank bulletin. You can drag stories you want to include in your bulletin from the story list into the bulletin. So let's go back to our all stories and drag in a couple of stories. So let's add in our cat story from earlier, and let's add in something about the cricket. As you can see, the first one has a piece of audio attached, the next one doesn't. Let's do a search see what Boris is up to. Okay, so I'm going to drag in that story, and of course when you've finished, you can see you can review what's in each one. You can change the order by simply dragging them, and when you're happy, give it a title and hit the save button. You can also open up the most recent bulletin by clicking on the Open Recent Bulletin window. So here you can see we've got our bulletin back. Once you're happy with your bulletin, you're ready to either record it to be uploaded to a remote Myriad Playout system, or if you're physically using Myriad Anywhere News on site, you can go into the newsroom or the news booth, load up the system and do the news bulletin live. Let's assume we need to upload it to a remote system. So the first thing we want to do is tell it where to upload to. So click on the little bulletin settings cog, tick the record this item, and then in here type in the number you want to upload the media to. Next, click on the read bulletin button, this opens Bulletin Reader mode, which effectively displays the scripts and the audio for each story in turn. So you can see that we've got all the stories here, and the audio is embedded into each story. You can also see we've got some favorites on the right hand side here. Now the first time you go into this bulletin, anything that's missing from this bulletin, so any of the favorites listed here, or any of the audio that is inside the stories that hasn't already been downloaded, gets downloaded quickly so that when you press play it starts instantaneously. So we want to record this, so we're going to click on the record button down at the bottom of the reader window here. This will then, you can just get a preview of your VUs to make sure you're recording some audio. You click on the record button and start reading your first script. Hello, welcome to the news. A cat gets stuck up a tree.
Radio 24/7. This is Hot FM.
And then you can move on to the next story and play the audio from that story, and so on until you get to the end of your bulletin. As mentioned before, you can also play favorites anytime you need to for beds, other audio content that you want to include in your news bulletin. When you're ready, click on the eject button to save the audio and to upload it to your remote Myriad system. Okay, that's been uploaded, and if we click on the media tab here, we can see there is our piece of audio. We can actually drag it into one of the players here to listen to it if we wish to. Hello, welcome to the news. A cat gets stuck up a tree. There we go. So that's living at media item 751. Of course, if we've scheduled media item 751 to play as our news item at the top of the hour, then that's what will get played by Myriad Playout when it gets to the next top of the hour, or the next time the news item needs to be played. The final thing I'm going to show you is taking a story and uploading it to one of the compatible CMS systems that we have available. So let's open up one of our stories. So let's open up my story from at the beginning of this video, and you can see we have a button here for upload to Air. Now Air is a third-party company that provides websites and apps and other things for radio stations, and this system's been configured to take this story and upload it to Air based on some settings that have been pre-configured. So when you click on the button, it says you can fill in the category, you can set start and end dates, and fill in some of the other details. Then you click on send, and that story will be posted up to that website. Now in the near future, we'll also be adding the ability to post to a broadcast.radio hosted website, so you'll be able to post news stories directly from Myriad Anywhere News to your broadcast.radio provided website as well. And that's just about it for our brief tour of Myriad Anywhere News. There are quite a lot of other options and features that you can explore, but hopefully you've got enough now to sort of get the basics done and start to experiment with the system. If you have any other questions, you can always email support@broadcastradio.com, and check our website and Facebook pages for regular updates and more tutorial videos. Thanks for watching.